Yay! Okay. So I did some reading and figured I wanted something to help deal with the divisiveness we hear so often. So this is from How to Use the Science of Mind, Principle and Practice by Ernest Holmes. We should waste no time in futile arguments as to what religion or spiritual outlook is right or wrong, but gladly accept the evidence of anyone's prayer and faith as a demonstration of his belief. Too much time is lost in arguing whether or not one's philosophy is the only correct one, his religion the only true one, his method of procedure the only effective one. Let us leave these arguments to the contentions of smaller minds and try to find the thread of truth running through all systems. Let us build on the affirmative and forget the negative. I know that there is only one. There is one everything. We are part of it. All life is part of it. All inanimate objects are part of it. All thoughts are part of it. All everything is of the one. And that one, that source, reaches into every single expansive corner of every space throughout all time, eternity, and the universe. And knowing all of that, I know that that power, that force, that creative ability does not make mistakes. It does not allow people or any other life form to choose a wrong path. We each are following the correct, appropriate, and proper path to that source as part of that source. And because of that, there is no judgment. There is no way that we can say that anybody else is lesser or greater than are we. We are all part of the one, and the one needs all of us to come together. And so we do. Come together honoring each and every person, each and every life, each and every atom of this entire universe. And we do so with gratitude and glory and are so overjoyed to be part of that. And I feel that, and I release it into the universe, and I say, and so it is.
my shoulder. I need to let go. Let God take over. I need to let go. I need to let go. I need to let go. Let God love me.
Thank you, Jackson. Now the junior varsity will exit the stage, and Hall of Famer Angelica Taggart will take it from here.
Thank you, Jackson and Scott. That was good. Very good. All right. So good morning, everyone, online and in person. It's good to have us here today. Come on, machine. There. What? So as you can see on the screen, our talk this morning is called Wonder, Wonder Everywhere. And I really like that song that Jackson just sang, because one of my keys for living in wonder is to let go. Just let go. And let the Spirit move through us and love us in the way that it always is anyway. From our Declaration of Principles and Global Vision, I have a couple of quotes here for us. First of all, we start out with, we believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite knowingness of God. And from our global vision, we envision all people, all beings, and all life as expressions of God. This idea that the one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. I really like that idea, because it brings to mind again, once again for me, is that the word God is basically a short term for this infinite divine energy that is absolutely everywhere, including in us, and it is constantly becoming something. It is constantly creating something. And a lot of the times it's creating in and as and through each one of us. But it's not absorbed. It's not only contained in one little place. It's not absorbed by heaven, for instance, whatever that might be. I remember as a child, I loved the idea of God, spirit, whatever you want to call it. But when they told me that God was up in heaven, I wanted to know where heaven was. Was it behind the clouds, on the other side of the blue color? Where was it? And then, of course, we sent people up in spaceships, and they never saw heaven, so where could it be? So the idea that God was in everything came to me really early. And I think it was from, reading some stuff about Hinduism. So I love the idea as well that everything being God, that means we are as well. The God is within us, and it's in every cell and atom of our body. It's in the air that we're breathing. It's in the things that we're standing or sitting upon. There is no spot where God is not, as religious science says. And through us, with our thoughts and our feelings, we use this divine energy to create our world, our personal world, and our collective world. And so we get to become part of the creation of everything that God is doing. And it's just wonderful to me. So, I love this quote from Dr. Holmes. And then I don't know why that's parenthesized, when a person stands in awe of grandeur, something deep within them responds. Something within them embraces the ocean, something within them melts into the mountain, and they become one with them. Have you ever had that feeling out in nature of looking at the mountains or the ocean or even a plant in your yard and becoming so enamored with it that you almost feel like it's a part of you? Something deep within us responds. And Tom Sanner, who's a minister, a CSL minister, he wrote a book called The Source Book for the Science Mind. He says, we must have a sense of humility and awe and wonder before the magnificence of spirit. Humility and awe and wonder. Humility being not to get into that place of, oh, look what I created. That feeling that we're doing it all on our own, that we're controlling the universe even. And awe, to me, every place in Scripture where it says fear, it means this feeling, this emotion, awe. An awe of how amazing everything is, and that wonder of how amazing everything is. I think that if we really looked at each other and recognized at a deep, deep level who we really are, we would want to pay homage to each other. We might even want to kneel down before each other. It's an amazing thing to think that as I'm looking out here in the audience, as I look at the pictures on the Zoom, which I can't see at the moment because of the PowerPoint, but if I look at anybody, I'm looking at the divine. I opened my closet this morning to try to figure out what to wear to be warm, and I'm looking at the divine, expressing itself as all the clothes that are jammed in there. I go out and I look at my cat, who is laying on the bed and stretches out and goes meow, at me, and I'm looking at God. I'm looking at the divine absolutely everywhere. You musicians, when you're standing there or sitting there playing your instruments, it's God playing God. I don't know if any of you have ever anthropomorphized things, but I do that all the time. I mean, my car has a name, and my computer has a name, though they haven't been very nice names lately. Everything for me has a name. I give a personality to everything. And it helps me in my idea that everything is the divine, absolutely everything. So my question for you is, what takes your breath away? From the very beginning, last week, the beginning of our year, we started out with living in everyday wonder. And I'm wondering how many of you allowed yourself to have a moment of wonder, a moment of awe last week. Did anybody? And do you want to share? Anna, great. Come up here and do that.
Just the golf course, the beauty of nature, the weather, the
The golf course, yeah, definitely the changing weather. You remind me of my former boss when I was working in accounting years and years ago down in Glendale. I told him I was moving. I'd worked there for 14 years. I told him I was going to be resigning because I was moving to Hawaii. And he goes, "Oh, Hawaii, it's so beautiful. Green, and then rocks, and then ocean." I thought that was funny. So who else has had an experience? Louise.
Okay, I have been giving myself an assignment, an art assignment, to draw a sky.
A sky.
It's supposed to be every day, but I'm not doing it every day. Some days it's not worth drawing. But, and part of the thing with the sky is before I go to bed, I take the dog outside to do her thing. And I am so in awe when it's a clear night and I can see the moon and the stars. And it kind of sort of ticks me off because my motion light goes on, which of course will tell me if there's skunks or something in the yard, because then I can't see the stars. So it's all, I guess, and that's part of the sky as well. So I love to watch the sunset and the sunrise and the stars and the moon.
The sky, that brings you, takes your breath away. I know what you mean about seeing the night sky, because I'm sort of like Scott in that I like following NASA and the various things that they do. And so I get an email every time the ISS is going to come over, the International Space Station. And I get so excited because it says what time and from what direction and the whole bit. And, inevitably I run outside at that time and it's cloudy, cloudy sky. So, but actually I'll tell you something. When I do get to see it, it's even more, it just strikes me so much because I don't get to see it very often. And it flies over quite often. But I see these blinking red lights and white lights going across the sky at a tremendous speed. In fact, when Scott said that the James Webb Telescope has unfurled all its apparatus, I thought, oh my God, it got 1 million miles away in like 9 days. Or whatever it's been since Christmas. It left on Christmas Day. How many miles was that going per hour? At least double-digit thousands, I mean, I don't know, but that takes my breath away. The fact that we have been able to develop or invent and create these things that take us out into space. It's just amazing. So who else has something? Max.
Well, the raging ocean, it's an incredible thing. I spend a lot of time hiking on the ocean. I do a bird survey, beach bird survey, which gives you another term for dead birds. Anyway, it's just that seeing a wave start to crest, start to break, kind of crumble, and then pretty soon it's up on the beach. We got to run up into the sand dunes, so you don't get sand. That is very exciting.
The ocean, definitely. When I was in Hawaii, one of my Hawaiian family, my Hanai sister, they call them, she took us down to the ocean one time for a Hawaiian lesson, and they told us that the waves come in sets of 7. And I always thought that was very interesting. Metaphysically, 7 is the number of completion on the physical plane. So to me, that was really interesting. Anybody else have a story for us about? Yes, Catherine. Food. Oh, yes.
See how these chefs can take like almonds and soak them in water and make cream? I mean, isn't that amazing? And they take all the flavors from all the different herbs come together. I mean, it's just there.
It is magic, isn't it? Cooking, food, definitely. How one, I mean, whether it's an experienced chef or even ourselves in our own kitchens, can take a little bit of this and a little bit of that and make something really, really tasty. Has anybody watched the Great English, the Great British Baking Show? Oh my goodness, that's amazing to me. I mean, it makes me very hungry. Even our bodies are amazing, aren't they? When you really think about it, we can be in awe of our bodies. And yet, what do we do most of the time with our bodies? We break them down. We tell them, oh, you're too big, you're too big. You know, you're not standing up straight. You're not doing, I mean, I have this litany of things that goes on in my mind sometimes. And I have to stop myself, you know, consciously stop myself and remember that thinking and feeling creates. And I don't want to create any more of it. But the fact that we can eat something and that whatever it is that we've eaten is broken down and becomes fuel for your body is wonderful. It's just amazing. Yes, Jackson.
Listening to smooth jazz
Listening to smooth jazz
takes my breath away.
takes your breath away. That's great. What is it about that smooth jazz?
It's just relaxing, inspiring.
Yeah, I would agree. Wonderful texture.
The textures of
More
the music.
complex
Yeah,
than some classical music.
definitely. That's what I would. I love classical music. So, you know, the Eureka Symphony. Don't you who go feel those little hairs on the back of your neck going up when you're listening to that fabulous music? I mean, our symphony for such a small town is really amazing. It takes my breath away. It's an interesting phrase, isn't it? Take your breath away. Something that you need to live. So Rumi says, the wonder of water moving over a rock in the stream justifies existence. The swish of a horse's tail. I am stunned by the grandeur of the unseen one that governs all movement. Have you ever gotten breathless before a beautiful face? For I see you there, my dear. There is a wonderful problem waiting for you. How to keep from fainting when we see each other. Isn't Rumi amazing? His writings take my breath away many times. But this is what I want you to do this week. Well, first I'm going to tell you, how can you get into this space of wonder? One is you have to make an intention to do it. So I want you to make an intention this week to put yourself in the place of wonder, to let the universe nurture you with experiences and sights and sounds and tastes, etc., that almost take your breath away or do take your breath away for a moment. I want you to, so set an intention. Then the other thing is that you have to believe in it. You have to believe that your intentions can come forth into reality. Belief is a really important key. So, and one of the ways I first got into believing that this stuff works was that I played with it. I tried it and tried it and tried it. And as I saw the results, it's given me the belief that I have now. That we're living in this infinite field of creative potentiality. And all I have to do is throw some words into this field and the whole universe rushes forward to make that so. So you have to have an intention. Create an intention. Allow yourself to really get into a believing state and then trust and be present like we talked about last week. Be present. Be open to seeing these things of wonder that will show up in your life. Because I know that they will. In fact, what I know is that they're happening all the time. I went outside yesterday morning to feed the feral cats, and my deck has gotten really slippery because of all the rain, so I'm really watching my feet. Plus I had the wrong shoes on. But So I'm watching my feet, and all of a sudden I notice that in the cracks between the planks of wood on my deck are little tiny green things growing up. It's like, well, how did they do that? There's no dirt there. Well, maybe there is. There must be something. But it's like my deck is now, each plank on my deck is lined with green. It's kind of pretty. I know I'm going to have to clean it up when it finally gets to be really good weather, but, you know, that to me was like a wonder. It's amazing how life presents itself and how resilient life is. So let yourself create an intention. Let yourself believe that your intentions coming forth are possible, and then be aware of it. Be present. Albert Einstein said, "The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and science. They to whom this emotion is a stranger, who can no longer pause to wonder and stand wrapped in awe, are as good as dead." Again, I'm going to say to you that what we want to do is like the Master Teacher Jesus said, come as a little child. Little children are always finding something, or a kitten even, or a puppy. They're always finding something to be entertained by. They're so much more aware than we are, as we've stuffed our brain full of, oh, I've got to do this, and so said that, and, you know, I'm really hurt by that thing that happened 90 years ago, and, you know, all the stuff that we've filled our brains with. And it's time for us to allow ourselves to empty ourselves out and be like little children and experience life for all the wonders that it has. So let's say this affirmation together. Scott wrote the affirmations too. I am overjoyed with the beauty that surrounds me at all times. I am enveloped in the endless limitlessness of the magnificence that is everywhere. It is around me, it is through me, it is me. For that I am joyful. So let's go into prayer. How grateful I am for this wondrous place that we live. How grateful I am that sometime before birth, I chose to experience what I'm experiencing now, life as a human being. A human being having a spiritual experience. A spiritual being having a human experience. And so I celebrate this. I celebrate all of my senses. I celebrate my wonderful mind, my wonderful body. I celebrate everything because I know that these are all tools for me to live in everyday wonder. And I choose this week to notice all the miracles, the magic that is happening all around us. I choose to pay attention. No longer do I allow myself to constantly pay attention to those things that are negative, to those things that I might want to change in my life because they're negative. I choose now to step forward on this new path, this path of living everyday wonder, knowing that as I set this intention, the whole universe rushes forward to give me love notes and magical experiences, mystical experiences. And so I say, I'm ready. I'm ready to know that all of this is possible. And I'm ready, as Jackson sang this morning, to let God love me. Let the divine love me by giving me all that I ask for in ways that I could not even imagine. And what I'm asking for, what I'm stating my intention for, is to live this year, day by day, in everyday wonder, where I see all the beauty that this world has to offer. I see it in the eyes of my family and friends. I see it in the greenery of our beautiful city, county. I see it in this amazing blue planet that's hurtling itself through the universe, through the galaxies. I see it in everything. I live in wonder, and it is good, very good. So I release these words into the law of mind, knowing that they are already so. And I allow myself to remember all the wonder, because I know that this too is good, this too is God, and so it is. All right, right now we get to experience Jeff and a gift of music from him. Let's give him a hand.
Have to change the tuning for the song, so,
Is this a song I can record?
Well, my understanding is, as long
Okay,
as you're
just-
not
just
reselling
do-
it,
Yeah, okay.
no, so it's not monetized, so why not?
Okay.
I think it's
Go for it.
legal, but it's not original. Well,
Okay.
all songs are original, but not original. Oh, okay. So I chose two songs that kind of give me a sense of nature, kind of awe, and I changed the tuning on my guitar and kind of we'll weave them together. So let's see what happens.